And of course, we'll be starting off with the front pages of the papers this morning. And we're looking at Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with Outrage trails attack on Atiku's campaign convoy in Borno. The writer says scores injured, vehicles vandalized. Atiku laments alleged APC rising attack on PDP. ACF, Ohaneze, MBF, Pandef, Afenifere, Akan, Oshutokun speak. No attack on Atiku's convoy. That's what the Borno police is saying. APC chairman Dalori is also saying that. How I'll provide security, revamp Lake Chad Basin, others. That's what Atiku is saying. Why IU wasn't at PDP's campaign. That's coming from his aide. A photo story showing the attack on PDP rally in Maiduguri by thugs. We can see vandalized vehicles. All right, on page 8, oil thefts, why NNPC engaged private security contractors. That's come from Kyari, NNPCL boss. On page 9, 2023, BVAS data will be secure, can never be hacked, says INEC. 8 Nigerian Americans emerged victoriously in U.S. midterm elections. You can see that story on page 29. Ara Rume drags Buhari to court, demands 100 billion naira over unlawful sack as NNPC chairman. Stories above. Northern elders tackle autumn over anti-Fulani comment as governor apologized. Obi Dati challenges Tinubu to come clean about a checkered past. On page 12, 2023, Rivers at its worst moment under Wiki. That's coming from Amechi. Eko Nafes, elect leaders that can ensure unity. That's from Sonolu. Bandit killed to sack entire community in Niger. A flood calls for resignation of Humanitarian Minister not appropriate. That's coming from the Presidency. And lastly, on the front page of Vanguard newspaper, pension assets rise 6% to 14.4 trillion naira in 9 months. All right, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. And the Nation is leading with oil thieves threatening my life, says NNPCL GMD. EFCC, we are investigating crude oil theft. ICPC, Nati demands transparency. I have fears for my re-election, Bala Mohammed cries out. We will rescue Bauchi governor, says Wike. Our stories above. 2023, Buhari predicts victory for Tinubu, says no going back on Naira notes redesign. 8 Nigerians wins in U.S. midterm polls. Republican takes over House. Why I set my stepchildren ablaze. Suspect. 193,000 PVCs yet to be collected in Kwara. Atiku promises to revive Lake Chad, fight insecurity. And lastly on the front page of the Nation, Amotekun Corps rescues 6 kidnapped undergraduates in Ondo. All right, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with wasting assets. Expert doubts the federal government's capacity to fund 20.5 trillion naira budgets. The writer says FEC approves team to sell, reorder abandoned property. Government's proposed asset sale in media propaganda, says officials. Federal government here to engage advisors. Program will not appeal to foreign investors, says GOK. Legal constraints could stall process. That's coming from lawyer. Buhari's asset liquidation performances is 0.65%. Only 5.92 billion naira released from privatization proceeds in 7 years. Asset disposal model erodes a country's intergenerational equity. Stories below, we have anxiety in PDP as Wike's camp visits Bauchi governor. Buhari congratulates Nigerian Americans on victory as U.S. midterm poll. Stories above, Meta purges 13% workforce may affect Nigerians in diaspora. Nigeria, other launch new African carbon market initiative at COP27. Why I set my 5 stepchildren on fire by suspects. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. And the Punch is leading with controversy surrounds Atiku convoy attack in Borno. The writer says ex-VP's convoy attack twice, scores injured, APC responsible. That's coming from PDP chairman. PDP faction behind attack, counts APC out. Ononuga, Borno APC chair. There was no attack. Suspected hoodlum arrested, says a police spokesperson. We can also see the photo story of the Nigerian Americans elected in the U.S. A car rams Ogun motorcyclists on one way, 6 crushed. Again, kidnapper strike on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, commuters shot. Stories above. I told aggrieved governors my worries. That's coming from Bala Mohammed. AMCON recovers a 307 billion naira debt. INEC to sanction 23 workers for illegal registration. Last year on the front page of the Punch newspaper, 28 killed in Benue clashes. Government demands probe. And that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining me still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. And joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Dr. Tayo Bateru. He is a journalist and former head, Department of Mass Communication, UniJOS. Good morning, sir. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's delve in this morning. And of course, we're talking about the attack on the convoy of the PDP presidential candidates yesterday. And this happened just as he left the palace of the Shehu of Borno. Now, according to reports, we were seeing that no fewer than 174 supporters were injured in the process. Also, the Borno State Police has debunked the attack, with police saying that they provided security for the campaign convoy. I would like you to speak on the attack, basically.
It is very disturbing because we're supposed to be appearing democratically, having practiced democracy for over 30 years now, consistently. We think that our politicians should be thinking differently and be doing things differently. But it would seem that we're like leopards and we have refused to change. Our politicians have refused to change their spots. Why should a party's convoy or be attacked? The presidential candidate's convoy be attacked? It's not good. If you want to practice democracy, you must learn to follow the tenets of democracy. It is very disturbing that we are still seeing this kind of a thing at this period, where convoys of opponents will be attacked, or they will be stopping rallies of opposing political parties from holding. It's disturbing, and it says a lot about our politicians. I do not know why all that has to be done. Because if you are a strong party, like the state chairman who was saying that PDP does not exist in that state, if PDP does not exist in that state, then why should you be worried? Why should the convoy of the presidential candidate of the PDP be attacked in your state? Even though he denied that it is not his people, but they could not have attacked themselves. Some people must have definitely attacked them. And so my view is that our politicians need to have a rethink and begin to decide whether they want democracy or not. But what we are doing right now, intimidation and attacking opponents' convoys, is not the best for our democracy.
I mean, this is not the first time the police would debunk an attack, only to come back 3 days after to say that it happened. And I mean, there are pictures to show on that attack. What are your thoughts on what the police is also saying?
I think our police people need to be questioned. They need to be questioned about their impartiality. They're supposed to be impartial observers of situation. They're not supposed to be politicians, unless, of course, if the police commissioner thinks that if he agrees that an attack took place, then it should be said that he was not doing his work. Otherwise, there are clear evidence, videos that show that people were attacked, and you are saying nothing like that happened. I think the best it should have done is to say that the police is going to investigate what happened, rather than just dismiss it when there is clear evidence that something like that happened. I think it's irresponsible of any of a public officer to just and especially that one charged with security, to just dismiss an allegation. If it is an allegation, before investigating it, you need to investigate first before you dismiss. And what will it say now? That we are seeing videos of the attack that actually happened, and yet he said nothing like that happened. I think it's not the best.
All All right, moving ahead, let's talk about this one. Now, the Kyari, that's the Group Chief Executive of NNPCL, has justified the engagement of private security contractors to protect oil and gas pipelines and installations, especially in the Niger Delta. And he's saying that, their effort is actually yielding positive results. What's your take on this one?
Of course, we've seen a lot has been unveiled since the private security outfits were engaged. At least the discovery of the pipeline that were used to steal oil from the main line is because of the engagement of the private security services. So definitely we have seen clear signs, and I think NNPC has been indicated by the results that we are seeing. Of course, also we know that it is like corruption timber. Those who have been profiting from the system will not like the fact that their source of illegal wealth is being blocked or being stopped. So we understand that there will be outrage from their part, and they will say all sorts of things. But I think NNPC is clearly justified by the results we have seen so far, and I think they must be commended for being sincere enough to want to tackle this problem.
All right, looking at the situation on ground, what do you think is the reality of fuel subsidy and also oil theft?
Oil theft must be tackled because, if anything, we are seeing how it affects our fortune. This is a time that we should be rejoicing as a country when there is a crisis in the international oil market because of the Russia-Ukrainian war. And so we should be profiting like other countries and be even having savings. But a lot of the oil theft, we can't even meet up our quota. So it is a shame. And so we need to do everything that we need to do to stop oil theft. And it's not going to come easy, but it is good that we have started. As per the oil subsidy regime, I think ultimately the oil subsidy will have to go. But government has a responsibility to introduce measures that will cushion the effect of the removal of the subsidy. For instance, one of the areas that I think, because as some have also argued, it is becoming also a conduit pipe for corrupt public officials to steal money by just claiming that they have spent humongous amounts on subsidy. So I think the subsidy should go, especially again because of the problem that we're having with our neighboring countries, where because our oil appears cheap, they smuggle them to neighboring countries. So if the subsidy goes, and then measures are put in place to cushion the effects. So, like I was going to say, that one of the ways is to increase the wages of Nigerians, so that they have the ability to cope with the effect of the removal of the subsidy. But ultimately, I think the subsidy will have to go.
All right, let's move ahead. And the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, has been under attacks over her comments that Bayelsa was not among the 10 most hit states with flood, and that Jigawa was number 1 and worse hit than Bayelsa. To this effect, they have been calls for her resignation. What's your take about the comments made by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs?
When I saw that, I am not in the full picture of what happened in Jigawa, but I also know that what happened in Bayelsa is not something that anybody will just say it's not key, or it's not weighty enough to attract attention, because from the pictures and videos that we saw, we knew that a lot of people were affected in that place, and there was a lot of devastation. So for the minister to say that Bayelsa is not high on top of on the list of states that were affected, I do not know on what basis she made that comment. But people are also right to react the way they reacted, because they say he who feels it knows it. Those who are feeling the effect of the flooding in Bayelsa are bound to feel bad that she said what she said. But if she had the facts, let her produce the facts. But if it's just based on speculation or lack of a proper studying of the situation, then I think it is not good for her to have done that. So our leaders need to people who are representing us or who are appointed to offices need to be more careful in the way they react to things. They must have the full picture. We have seen situations where people just talk before they even get the full facts, and that is not good for anybody who is holding public office. They must get their facts right so that when they talk, they will not be attracting this kind of comments. I think that those who are reacting feel that she has not done her due diligence in terms of getting all the facts right to be able to make informed comments.
All right. INEC has also reassured Nigerians that data on BVAS would be secured and not compromised. But then again, we know that these things were created by man, and do you think that Nigerians can, wholeheartedly trust the system?
Well, it is a global phenomenon. We are seeing situations where there are hackers hacking to, even in the US, they hack into their electoral whatever. So there's nothing that is created by human being that is foolproof. But when we see efforts being made to at least address issues as they arise, then it builds the confidence of the people. So if INEC chairman is assuring Nigerians that they're going to do everything, it does not mean that we're going to have a better system. But if there is that will to ensure that things are done right and that everything goes well, they will always be able to respond to whatever develops so that they're able to at least mitigate whatever effects such negative developments might have on the whole process. So I think we should take them on their words and also continue to ask that this be done in the interest of the country.
All right, let's take Mr. and Mrs. before we go. Mrs. is speaking this morning. She says, you call yourself my husband, but you hardly carry me along in anything that you do. Is that fair? And Mr. says, forgive me, dear. Right now, I'm going on a business trip in Casina. Pack a bag. I would like to carry you along.
Yes. So that is carrying along. Anyway, I think the message is there. Just yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Tayo Batero. He's a journalist and former head Department of Mass Communication Unit. Just thank you for sharing your talk with us this morning.
Thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, all right. Remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Also, our WhatsApp number is displayed on your screen. To find out more of our top stories, you can go to our website at www.vanguardngr.com to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for watching.